Welcome to the Next Dimension Podcast, your portal to an extended reality. Every week we talk about the hottest topics in XR and let you join the discussion live on MRTV. And now, get ready for another exciting episode coming up.
Hi and welcome to Season 2, Episode 20 of the Next Dimension Podcast, your podcast that's all about VR and AR. And today, here with me, Gary from Immersed Robot. Gary, how are you doing today?
Very good, always good at the moment. But I had a few PC problems over the past couple of weeks and stuff like that. But I won't bore you with all that stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty good. Pleased to be here.
Great to have you here. And also here with us, Tetiana from Disco VR. Tetiana, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Doing all right. At this time. Yeah, happy to be here. It's always a pleasure and always a great distraction.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Yeah, I totally get it, Tetiana. Yeah, so happy to have you here. So good to have you here. And I'm looking forward to, distract you a bit from everything that's happening.
Yes, please. Let's do this.
Yeah, exactly. And let's talk a bit about virtual reality, even though obviously there's so much more important things going on. But let's do it. Let's talk about virtual reality.
Let's escape to
Let's
virtual
escape
reality.
from reality. Yeah, sometimes it's the best thing you can do. Yeah. Also with me, my name is Sebastian Ang. I'm the host of this show and I'm the founder of MRTV, channel that's dedicated to virtual reality, as you most probably know. And I'm also doing good and I'm looking forward to this show. Yeah, for all of you who don't know what this show is all about, well, every Saturday we talk about virtual reality and in the future probably also augmented reality. This show is live at 9 p.m. Berlin, 8 p.m. London, noon in San Francisco and 3 p.m. in New York City. And if you enjoy this show, then absolutely give it a thumbs up right now if you're watching this on YouTube. And also leave a comment, probably. Let us know how you enjoyed the show after the show. And of course, it would be great if you could leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you enjoy this show, this is the best way to say thank you and to have other people find this show. So get out your iDevice, get out your iPad and your iPhones, open the podcast app, find the Next Dimension Podcast, and do leave us a review. Today we are going to talk about some interesting topics. We're going to talk about MOS 2, which launched already last week. No, the week before. But last week we didn't have a show because it was my mom's birthday and I needed to celebrate with her. So that's why last week we didn't have a show. We're going to talk about MOS 2 and we're going to talk about the Cambria, the Cambria Leaks from Lynch. And we're going to have a look at the renders that he did and we're going to speculate what we think about the Cambria and if we are excited about it or not and what it might bring to the table. Also, we're going to talk a bit about the Pimax 8KX because I think we all spent some time with it, right? Gary, I know it from you. Tetiana, you also had a chance to check it out?
Mm-hmm.
A bit, yeah? Okay, let's see.
A bit. It's been a little while. I will have to get back to it. But yes, I can
right. Some
remember my experiences.
Yeah, who knows, yeah. And that's what we're going to do. Exactly. But before we do that, let's talk a bit about what we did in the last week or in the last 2 weeks. And I would like to start with Gary. Gary, what have you been doing in virtual reality?
Well, I mentioned earlier that I wasn't going to bore you with my PC problems, and I won't stay on this for too long, but I've got to mention it, haven't I? So basically, over the past couple of weeks, I was having some major crashes on my PC, and every sort of 20 minutes or when I was doing certain things, it was just crashing on me. And eventually, after a long-winded process, which I honestly won't get into, it boiled down to the NVMe, my main drive, basically the NVMe M.2 drive that I've got in my PC, was failing. So I did a reinstall of Windows before I realised this, and it persisted even with a fresh install of Windows. And so I bought a new one, and that seems to have solved it. And part of this actually coincided with when I got my Pimax 8KX. So I was running through all of these things, these hassles, setting up the Pimax 8KX while also trying to deal with these unexplained crashes and stuff like this. So I was thinking, is it the Pytool software? Is it the Pimax? Or
I could imagine it. It's all Pimax's fault.
I know that's what I was thinking. Is it that's causing these crashes? But no, it wasn't. It wasn't that anyway. Okay. It was all the failing drive, because I was having these before. I had intermittent crashes before, a few weeks before I even got the Pimax, so I know it wasn't that. But it was it's just been a little bit frustrating, but now I've got it sorted. I've reinstalled everything, and I'm just sort of trying to get everything set up as it was before and continue to play VR on my PC. I'm sort of really, I'm using the Pimax a lot at the moment, and I'm trying a lot of different things, but not really getting too deep into any one thing with PC gaming, PC VR gaming at the moment, which I'm interested to get back into. And as I settle down with the Pimax 8KX, and I don't want to try every single little title that I've got, I'll settle back into the ones that I want to play and really dive in a little bit deeper with those. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, we're going to talk a bit more about our Pimax 8KX experiences, but just give me an idea. What are your thoughts, your initial thoughts?
Far better than I was expecting. So I tried a Pimax
That's cool to hear.
Previously, several years ago. So I wasn't expecting it to impress me as much as it did, and it is a great experience. But we'll get onto that a little bit more, because it's not perfect. It's not a perfect experience.
Not at all. Mm-hmm. You have to dial it in a lot.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, like wow. But when you make these kind of dial-ins, can I call it like this? It is then it is really cool, actually. But you need to do them. If not, then you have eye strain, you have bad colors, right? It's crazy. You do have to do them, or it's not going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, yeah.
But it is nice that you can save those settings for each game, so you don't really have to change them later on. So it's I think that's my favorite part about it, is that, I mean, it makes sense that they have this function to save these profiles. Otherwise, I don't think a lot of people would be willing to play with it this much every time they want to try a different game.
Yeah. I will say, I think there's limitations on what you can achieve depending on various factors with that as well. I certainly don't think it's the headset. I'm getting into it a little bit too deeply, but we'll get into the Pimax a little bit more later on, I suppose. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
cool. Anything else that you played in virtual reality, or you did?
Green Hell VR. I think we'll be discussing that a little bit later on. So that was the question. Yeah. We can get onto that. And really, no, it's been the Pimax and my continuing drama with the Valve Index, which I've had to send back. I got a replacement. I've had to send that back again, and so I'm hoping to get a replacement for that as well. So yeah, not having too much luck lately, am I? Really, with the world of VR and PCs and stuff. But hopefully, I'll get back on track soon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But now that you have the Pimax 8KX, do you think it could replace your Valve Index?
For me, at this moment in time, when I look at it, it won't replace my Index at this moment in time. But I understand the Pimax, especially more than any other headset I think I've ever used, relies on you putting in the work to get the experience you want. Like you were talking about a moment ago, Sebastian, I do think that you put in more work, and I've only had it for a couple of weeks, and I'm still finding new things that make the experience better. So I think the longer I'll have it, the longer I dive into all the things, it could potentially become that headset. The problem is it's up against stiff competition. The Valve Index, while it's not a perfect headset either, and it's not got the highest resolution, in terms of an all-rounder, it's going to be very difficult to top that at the moment. The Pimax is, and that's the difficulty, I would say. The Pimax is a better experience in something like Project Cars 2, without question. I can say that without question. For me, that was blew me away, the experience in Project Cars 2. But as an all-round VR headset, the Index probably still pips it at this very moment in time for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Good to know. Yeah, all right, cool. Is that everything that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, we can move on.
Okay. Yeah, Tetiana, what did you do in virtual reality in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, let's talk about the positive things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
From the moment that we started chatting, like before the podcast to now, my channel hit 24,000.
Wow,
Thank
that's
you.
amazing. Congratulations. That's incredible.
Thank you. That's like, yeah, these kind of milestones are, I just try to cling on to them, to all the nice and positive things that are happening and celebrate them as much as I can, because that's what I think this is what we have to do. We have to enjoy good things that are happening in our lives so that we don't get hung on to all the sadness. So thank you, everyone.
Tetiana, when you overtake me, you have to buy me beers, like a crate of beers.
How about I buy you beers anyway?
Yeah, okay. I like the ring of it.
When we finally can travel. When I finally can travel. So that's good. Another good thing that happened, only partially VR related. I defended my doctoral dissertation.
Wow.
And I'm now Dr. Disco.
Wow. Dr. Disco, that's amazing. Wow. So you are a PhD now? It's finished?
I am. Well, I think that technically I will be after I, the semester ends and I graduate. I submitted my dissertation to the grad school and they might be like requesting some formatting changes, but I've already registered for graduation, already placed the order for my cap and gown, and I will be walking on that stage and get my diploma and be
wow, that is so
PhD.
cool.
So it's very surreal.
Congratulations, Tetiana, PhD. You have to write it here.
It's been a really long journey, and maybe some of you don't know that, but I actually discovered VR to the depth, that I have it. That I've got excited about it through this program, because I was researching learning technologies, and virtual reality is a learning technology, and my dissertation is on using high immersion virtual reality, the headset kind of apps for language learning. And
perfect.
There is surprisingly very little research done on that, and there isn't even enough research done to say that VR is helpful to learn languages, or that there is a specific way you can use it to improve like language acquisition. So I think that's the main message of my dissertation, that there's a lot more that needs to be done. So I
the elevator pitch for your PhD dissertation. Yeah, it's good.
To keep researching.
VR will help you to learn a language.
It's more like there's a chance, and we just have to keep researching whether it's true or not, because there's just way too little done, and which is surprising. I really thought that that this field has been really deeply researched when I started. I'm actually one of the pioneers that's doing that kind of research. So not super groundbreaking findings in my dissertation, but it's a stepping stone for the future, and I'm sure that there's great potential.
Yeah, there is. Check this out. I think I have shown you this before, right?
Yes.
That's me in virtual reality, like teaching Chinese to a class of people. And it was fantastic. It worked so well. It just felt like the real deal, right? I learned Chinese in Taiwan, and I was also in this group of like 8 people in Taiwan and in these language schools. And then I thought like, hey, can I do that in VR? In here, you see it, right? I did it in Rec Room, and it worked perfectly. It just felt amazing. And yeah, you can do it.
It's great. And see, what's interesting about it is that all the research that's done on this is done so differently. Like right here, you're basically using VR as space. You aren't actually using a tool like AI conversational agents that you can practice with.
You could do that
that's
too,
completely, your own approach. Then there are apps that allow you to actually talk to these AI agents.
Exactly.
And then there are other types of benefits, because you can talk to someone without being afraid that you'll be made fun of or that you made a mistake because you say something wrong, right? So there are different like benefits to talking to a bot, basically, and talking to a real person. And VR can accommodate both. But is it beneficial? So that's the problem. All these approaches to learning languages in VR are so different that for now it's virtually impossible to find patterns and to find enough, like to get enough data to say that yes, it is helpful, it is helping, or it is more effective than learning in a classroom or something like that. So it's interesting, but it's a little bit disappointing because I was hoping like, yes, I'll do this research and I'll have this big statement. I'll prove that VR is beneficial, but it's too early to do that. But anyway, it's done.
Who cares? As long as you have your PhD, that is all you need to do, right? It's okay. It's fine. Cool. Yes. Yeah, congratulations. That's amazing. It must feel so good, right? After years of studying and working on it.
It's a big load off my shoulders because it was one of the 3 things that I do. Like it was like a full-time job. So with my actual full-time job in my channel, that also feels full-time. And the dissertation thing, it was just way too much. So it's a load off my shoulders to kind of cross that out now.
Wow.
So hopefully I'll have more time to play for fun.
Yeah, right.
Which I have been doing. So we will talk about Green Hell VR, and I really enjoyed it. I have put my PlayStation VR camera on again because I tried Moss, but also tried a different PlayStation VR game called Shadow Point.
Right.
It was actually it's a Quest game too. So it's one of those times where it was a Quest, but now it's also PlayStation VR. And it's a really interesting puzzle game where you're basically solving puzzles by putting these different shapes to form shadows. It's hard to explain. So kind of if there's a shape, you need to find all the objects to create the exact same shape of this. Oh, it's really hard to explain.
It's a good game. I played that because that was a launch title on the original Quest as well. And it was one of the sort of the standout ones. It was one of the most polished ones. It's a nicely polished game, and the puzzles are interesting as well. So yeah, I really like that. I've not played it for a long time though, but I like the idea of it anyway.
I just thought it would be more enjoyable on Quest than on PlayStation because it still had these tracking issues where not issues but limitations, right? Where you can't really rotate, like turn around. You still have to face the same direction, and it works for games like Moss, where the whole game is pretty much built on the idea that you're only looking at what's in front of you. Games like Shadow Point, you kind of by inertia you want to turn around. Because you're in this open space, but you can't do that. So that kind of ruined it for me a little bit. But anyway, another game that I played, and it's a kind of a little one, but it's one of those asymmetric VR games that I think are really pushing boundaries. Like when one of the person is wearing a headset, another one is on the computer or a phone or a tablet. It's called Do You Copy?
Oh, I've never heard about it.
Well, it's a SideQuest game. Yeah, I think it's on App Lab. But it's just so fun because you're working with a friend to rob a bank.
That sounds appealing to me.
So imagine that. So you know how in all these movies, there's a person who's like a spy or a robber, and he's doing all this stuff. And then there's a hacker who's like sitting somewhere in a different room.
Yeah, right.
And like telling them
or
what to do.
In a huge car.
Okay, you go straight, but there's a cop there, so like stop. I'm going to disable the laser now. Okay, you can go. That's the game.
Oh, cool! That sounds really cool.
The person in VR is a robber, and he's basically just in this bank, but he doesn't know that there's a laser there, or that there is a cop or like someone. Like some kind of a person in the bank that will catch you if they see you. But the person who is on the phone or on the computer, they see the map and they see everything that's in this bank. Cool. So their job is to give you directions where to go, when to stop, when to hide. And it's also his job to kind of like disable some of the traps or to tell the robber how to disable them. So there's a lot, it's built on like communication, how well you're able to communicate what to do to the person who is in VR. so that he doesn't get caught and he robs the bank successfully.
Nice. It sounds fun, actually.
Yeah. So I played that a little bit, and me and my husband had a really, really good time playing it because, I don't know, it's just a really different kind of an approach to, using VR. And asymmetric games are really like, letting people not be as isolated maybe when they're playing VR.
Right.
Especially if one of them doesn't have it. So yeah, I enjoyed that. And we will talk about some other games later in the show. I think I'm done talking for now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks for sharing what you did with us, Tetiana. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I made some videos about the Pimax 8KX, just like Gary. Yeah, we're doing the 8KX thing right now. And actually, I also wanted to do the Project Cars one, but you did it already. Then I thought, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, you did.
It's worth trying, though. I've got to say.
I did, and I came to the same conclusion like you, that it's actually a good experience. Yeah, like a really good experience. It looks good, and yeah, that wider field of view does help with the feeling of speed. So yeah, that was pretty good. So what I was checking out, first of all, like another color fix, because when you use the 8KX for the first time, the colors are not really beautiful. So the community does have some good color settings that I tried out, and then I tried them out in Population 1. And yeah, it's just such a big difference, and we will talk about this later in this show, like how much of a difference these color settings can make. And I was absolutely enjoying the experience to play Population 1 in the 8KX. So normally people say like, okay, the 8KX, it's good for these sim games, but actually you can also play first-person shooters. I did have a good time. It looked great, huge FOV, and yeah, I'm kind of rekindling my feelings for the Pimax headset. It was pretty nice. Then today, just before the show, I uploaded another video where I tell people how to set the IPD correctly, because also it's something that you have to actually spend a bit more time on, because there's some IPD offsets that you can set in the Pi tool, and that could make it much better. Before, I normally had a problem with feeling something that something is off with the IPD. Somehow I feel eye strain after playing for longer times. But once you set that correctly in the Pi tool, this IPD offset, then these problems will disappear. And yeah, I made a little tutorial about it. Did you try that, Gary?
I did, yeah. So I tried it before, because I know you mentioned it on one of your other videos in your Discord.
And then you did it.
Yeah, so I went into your Discord and followed these instructions. And actually, the weird thing is, so with me, I do have issues with the IPD on the Pimax 8KX, which I can get into shortly. But what I did, I actually did exactly what they instructed, where you sort of look at the controller, lift the headset up, and then adjust with the arrow
offset
keys
on
the keyboard. So I did this blind. I didn't know what I was setting the actual thing to. I was just doing it what was most comfortable. And when I'd finished with each eye, I turned back and it was on 0. The offset was on 0 on both. And I'm not making this up. I promise I'm not making this up. It was
then it's perfect for you.
Yeah, so I thought, the offset's not the issue. It's not like things feel off in the real world as they do in like the virtual world. It's more to do with the actual physical placement of the lenses themselves that is the issue
because
for me.
of the canted displays, right?
Yeah. There's I mean, there's a lot to get into with that. Honestly,
we will.
But anyway, I did try it anyway. And I think it will definitely benefit some people for sure.
I think people should try this out. Did you go into this depth, Tetiana, with the Pimax 8KX already?
I need to. Actually, with everything, I need to get back to it and make that official review on my channel, and so. I will be asking you probably about these things now because
you can, of course.
I might just, for someone, for example, someone gets this headset and they just want to see what it's like out of the box with the settings. I kind of want to show what it is before you start diving into the settings, because not all people will do that. And
most people won't. I see lots of people who just send it back, also in the comments. They say like, okay, I tried it, I don't like it, boom. And I was like this before as well, actually, for the 8KX. I had this pre-production unit and I didn't like it for several reasons. Yeah. Anyways.
So I think it is important to show, what this headset offers straight out of the box. If you connect it, it's what you get, or with the minimum tinkering, with the Pi tool without like the complex commands. And then after that, kind of these deeper color corrections and other commands, I think really will make this headset shine. But it's like the next level, right? So
right.
Maybe 2 videos then.
That's good. 2 videos are better than 1. Yeah, cool. So yeah, that was what I was doing, and actually I was doing some exciting stuff where I did not make videos of, or I made videos of, but those videos will only appear next week. And I can just tell the VR community out there, next week some things will change in our VR headset ecosystem.
He's such a tease.
Yeah, I know. I am really a big tease.
Can't wait for this.
Next week, lots of things will change. And yeah, I tried this change already a lot. And I can say like, okay, yep, that will impact the market like tremendously, in my opinion. So yeah, next week, wow, you can all look forward to next week, in my opinion, and you will see lots of exactly. You will see lots of interesting things on the channel, and probably you might buy something. I have the feeling.
Is there something mixed reality? Mixed reality would be changing the ecosystem?
No.
Well, I'm just looking at the dates. So it's probably not the the Meta thing, because when's that? The 20th? That's the week after. So it's nothing to do with that.
No.
So it's got to be, is it something completely... Can you give us any clues, Sebastian? That's what I'm saying.
I don't think it's Meta are you talking about?
Let me think about
it. No, it won't be Meta. No, that will be the week after, I would think.
I can just say a new competitor is coming. Wow. And I must really say I was like pretty excited when I tried this out. And I can tell, like, yes, this is going to be a big, like, wow. I think I'm saying too much already, unfortunately. But this is
Arpara all in one?
No. No. This is going to be big. Yep, in my opinion.
Samsung.
No, I
cannot. Are we allowed to
I cannot comment anymore.
No,
but anyways, I'm just telling you, next week's Next Dimension podcast, we have to. Yeah, this will be an interesting show, and we will be talking about it.
The whole rest of the show we're just going to be guessing, throwing names at you. This is how the show will go.
Chat should be aware we don't know any more than you guys. Let's do this either. So
this is not an act.
Yeah, you're right.
This will be interesting.
So yeah, I tried this thing the last week. That's why I didn't make so many videos. And yep, so these videos will go online sometime next week, and it's going to be interesting. And I have the feeling some people might buy something.
Is it a new brand or is it an established brand?
Yeah, I can answer this. It's a brand that we've heard before. But other than that, I cannot say anything more. Yeah, so wow. They did surprise me when I was in that meeting, in that pre-meeting. I first listened and thought like, yeah, okay. But then at the end of the meeting, I was like, wow, okay, wow. Meta has to look out now. That's really something that I was like thinking like, okay, this is something that Meta really, has a competitor soon.
Well, now I'm excited.
Interesting. Yeah. Because if you say that it's something to buy, then you're also saying that it will be at the price range that will.
I would buy it directly if I hadn't already have one. I would buy it directly, like it's an instant buy.
VTID said Sega. Is it Sega? Sega coming out with a new VR thing.
I cannot comment on it. I cannot comment on it, but I'm telling you, our whole VR thing ecosystem will be much more interesting now.
Good. That's good stuff.
Next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So will your videos be coming out before the next Dimension podcast?
Yes.
You'll be leading up to that. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Next week you will have lots of content on MRTV. It's going to be interesting. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So
now let's talk about something completely unrelated to this big teaser you just dropped.
Yeah. Exactly.
How do you expect us to do that?
Right. Yeah. Anyways, let's. So that was my week. I was trying this other thing and doing these Pimax videos, and now let's talk about something completely unrelated. Exactly. Okay, so Extreme Koksa, is it exclusive to MRTV? No, I don't think so. MRTV is not the only one who's going to talk about it. Okay, so let's talk about let's talk about this topic here, Green Hell VR. I have the game on my Quest, but I have not had the chance to play it, and I really have no idea about what it is other than it's a survival game. So probably tell me a bit about it. Tetiana, I know you've played it and you were excited about it, right?
I have, and I was, and I am.
Wow. Tell me more about this game.
Well, so I played it late because Green Hell is a survival game that is a very successful game on. It first came out on as a PC game, like a flat screen game, and then it was ported by a team to like PC VR. PC VR. But I think the demo came out, and a bunch of content creators made a video about it and destroyed it because it wasn't very good. But a different team created a port for Quest, and I hear that it is much better, and I've gotten to try it. And that was the first time that I tried. It was the Quest port of Green Hell VR, and this is a survival game, like a hardcore, realistic survivor that is set, I believe, in Amazon rainforest. So it all looks very jungly and very exotic. Yes, you can see right here. I don't know what kind of gameplay you're playing right now, but
yeah, it's a comparison between the PC VR and the Quest version from Upload VR, but now there's ads anyway. So
okay. Actually, it's interesting because I think it's too early to make that kind of comparison because the PC VR, it was a demo, and the actual PC VR full game hasn't been released yet. So I'm sure that it's going to be better, and that's why I didn't make a video like that, because I love comparing games, and I think it's a little premature to talk about it. But yeah, this game is stressful. Like, it's a stressful survival game. I know there are people who love this kind of, survival style where everything you do, you kind of need to figure it out on your own. So when you appear in this rainforest, you have nothing. You don't have any weapons. You don't have any food. You kind of just have to figure this out on your own, and you will die a lot before you actually figure out what to do. So I haven't played it long enough to discover all the things that you can build and create, but everything that you build, you'll do it kind of, with your own hands. So it reminded me, strangely enough, a little bit about No Man's Sky, just in the meaning of like this craftiness. Like in No Man's Sky, you kind of craft things and you create them following some kind of recipes. Like you need to create an axe, for example, by finding a stick and a stone, and you make this little stone by picking up two bigger boulders and crashing them over each other, and making the smaller one, finding a smaller stick, like making your own weapon. Basically, you make your own bonfire, finding sticks and dry leaves and actually making fire, building your own bed, building shelter, killing animals. I don't know. I haven't really played far enough to tell you more about bigger animals, but there are animals that will make your life a lot more difficult. Like, I got bit by a snake and I got infection and I died.
Oh no.
And then I fell in the river. Somehow I didn't die, but there was some kind of little little bugs on my skin, and it was really disgusting, and I didn't know really what to do to protect myself. So there's a lot of things that kind of make you panic because you know you're dying, but you don't have enough knowledge to understand how you can protect yourself. But the more you learn, the more fun it is, because you actually figure out what to do. Yes, kind of like Lost. Exactly.
Sounds interesting.
One fun thing that I think this mechanics is so cool, everybody's talking about it. If you get a scratch, like if you fall, you get a scratch, you can find a leaf, like a tobacco leaf, and you use it as a bandage, and you literally like twist it around your hand or your wrist to stop the bleeding or to disinfect that kind of scratch. So there's a lot of interactivity there. Like you can interact with so many things. Like learn
it also
things.
Sounds like you have to try a lot. You have to be creative yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like this?
There's a few like tutorial. For example, what you see right now is like it's a story mode, and I think that this part is more like a tutorial. It does tell you what to do, but you have a weapon, you have food. It's controlled. After that, you there's a story. I won't tell you exactly how it goes, but you will appear away from your camp and with nothing. So then everything you've learned is staying with you, but the rest of it you'll have to figure out by yourself. So lots of ways to die.
Yeah.
Gary, have you played it, by the way?
Yes. So I was one of the people that. Yeah, I absolutely enjoy it.
I think enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's absolutely fantastic in my opinion. And I played the demo of the PC version. So my understanding is I wasn't aware of this until I looked at the upload review, and I didn't read it thoroughly, but they said that it's a different version of that game. It's a cutback version. They've done things to cut it back to get it onto the Quest platform, which makes sense because the main criticism of the PC VR demo that most people had was performance. It was just so poorly optimized. It was really, really bad. And I played through the demo, and it was okay, and I liked the idea of it. But playing it on the Quest is just a polished experience. It's a nice polished experience, and it plays really well. I feel as well, I don't know if you tried this, because I got a key to this game, so I am going to make a video on it on my channel. But the interesting thing is that when you start recording footage, and this happens in some titles, but not all titles, when you start recording footage on the Quest, this will turn into quite a bad stutters. It will have bad stutters in certain areas. Oh, really? So I really feel like it's optimized really on the edge of what the Quest 2 can handle. And I think it shows, honestly. I think the graphics look fantastic for a Quest standalone title. And I suppose the main competitor to this at this moment on the Quest 2 is Song in the Smoke, which is a game, one of my favourite Quest games of last year. I think that is another one which I really enjoy. It's weird, I have never really dived into these survival games. I've never really got into them, but there's something about them that draws me in. Song in the Smoke drew me in. This draws me in, and it's very similar in some ways to The Forest as well, a PC VR survival game. But Green Hell, I suppose the aesthetic and overall the things I'm doing in Green Hell actually make it probably the one that I'm enjoying more out of this and Song in the Smoke, which is amazing because I really enjoyed Song in the Smoke. But yeah, I think what they're doing here is really good. It plays really well, and the crafting. I understand what you're saying actually, Tetiana, about the No Man's Sky comparison, and all of these survival games sort of play into that area as well. It's like Subnautica. So someone actually just mentioned Subnautica, Valheim VR as well. These are all things where you're crafting constantly. You're creating things, but it's this element of you're not just doing that. You're discovering new things as well as you work your way through this environment. And at the moment where I am, so I've probably played around an hour and a half of it so far through the story. So I am at that section where you are, Tetiana, where you said like you get placed away from your camp, and then I've progressed a little bit beyond there. But it's it's sort of it's just a great experience. It teaches you, places you alone, and you have to fend for yourself. And I like that aspect of it. And it's surprising to me that I've never got into these survival games because they obviously appeal to me. Every single one I've ever tried is drew me in. So it's going to be one I'll continue. And this quest games don't. There's a lot of quest games that I like, but smaller games, indie games, rhythm games, and those kinds of things just don't appeal to me as much. So it's only every now and again that a game will come along and I'll actually request a key for it. And this is one that I went out of my way to request a key for, and I'm really glad I did because I'm looking forward to making a video on it and diving into what it can do. So yeah, for me at this stage, I would recommend it.
Wow, that's exciting. So how about recommending it to a person like me who is not patient and who hates crafting? That's basically me. I hate crafting.
I honestly don't think it's overloaded with crafting though.
Okay,
No Man's Sky is a lot more hardcore in terms of you literally need to like take notes to remember how to do certain things if you don't play this game enough. But with this game, it's a lot more accessible, I think, because you have this journal.
That's good. That is good.
Like with this journal, gives you all the recipes, like how to craft anything, and they aren't that complicated, really. Like there are some sticks, some stones, some ropes. Not like you need to find carbon and ferrum and all the elements that you don't even know where they might exist. So you will just scan everything and hope that you will find it. So it's a little bit more intuitive because you're more familiar with the forest than you are with the universe, like the outer space. So maybe I think it's more Sebastian friendly in terms of craft.
Good. Yeah, right. Okay, then I probably will try it out because everyone that I talked to really enjoys the game and tells me like, "Yo, you should totally try this out." So I should probably do it. So how about the graphics? Is it beautiful? Does it look good?
What do you think, Gary? Before I say something.
I think it look. At the end of the day, it's a standalone device, isn't it? And you're going to run into limitations with that. And I think the graphics are great for what is being offered. You compare it to anything that you're playing on a PC, of course, then no, it's not. The lighting is not fantastic and the textures are not fantastic and all of these things. But at the same time, you come to this with a level of expectation. And what I was saying earlier, like Song in the Smoke, it's got a nice aesthetic about it. And yet at the same time, I think I would take the aesthetic of Green Hell over that for what it attempts to do, the realism it attempts to do. I think it almost pulls it off. And I'm actually looking forward to trying the PC version of this game as well, actually, just to see how it compares. But I personally think they are very good graphics for what it's running on. What do you think, Tetiana?
I totally agree. I'm never bashing really Quest graphics because I know how much goes into cutting down the game to improve the performance and just to make the game flow with a minimum sacrifice of the graphics. But I do wish it was better. Just put it this way. If you've never played, I've never played the PC VR version. I've only played the Quest, and I could tell, I could just imagine how much better it would be if I could see those shadows, if the textures were higher in higher resolution, and everything looked. Well, you get used to this thing. The very first impression was that, yes, I can definitely tell it was much, much, much downgraded from the original idea of what the game was supposed to look like. And I'm like you, Gary. I'm looking forward to trying the PC VR and making the comparison. Yeah. I'm expecting to see quite a big difference just because of how vast. It creates the illusion of open space when you're in the jungle. I think that it's not because you still go through levels, but the illusion is that you are in this jungle. You can go anywhere and do anything. And so it's understandable why they would have to sacrifice some of the graphic, the visuals to make that happen.
I think it's good enough. I think that's the important thing to say. I think it's good enough graphics at the end of the day. And the other thing I want to quickly mention with regards to this is the fact that I believe that what the developers have done with this game in concentrating on a Quest version, making a dedicated Quest version, then also making a dedicated PC VR version is absolutely, I mean, that's above and beyond, in my opinion, because what we often see is developers developing for Quest first and then porting that over to PC and perhaps increasing textures and things like that. And by the sounds of it, it seems that there has been a level of extra work that's gone into this to separate the two versions, give the Quest to the best possible version that can run on that device, while also concentrating on the best possible version that can run on PC VR. This is not something we see very often, so I think that's a good thing, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so probably I should play it. And for all of you out there who want to pick it up, you can get it now for 30 euros, probably also for $30 US, in the Quest official store, Green Hell VR. All right. That's it for this topic, right? Or do you have anything more to add?
No, that's good enough.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tetiana. Did you have something else to say?
Oh, no, I was just wondering, Sebastian, if you played Song in the Smoke?
No. Also didn't play that. Yeah.
So is that the survival games that don't appeal to you?
Yeah, probably not. All the games where I have to craft things, normally I don't like them.
Yeah, I can understand it. I don't know what it is that appeals to me about that. I do like the fact that I've made this thing and then I can go and kill an animal with it.
But I will give it another chance. Probably now with Green Hell. Mm-hmm. Since you like it so much, I will probably give it a try. All right, the next topic, actually, we didn't talk about this topic before, Tetiana and Gary. It's a surprise topic that I just remembered, but it's pretty it's pretty straightforward, and it is about the so-called AirBridge wireless USB dongle for Quest that was spotted in the Oculus drivers. So actually, before AirLink came out, the wireless gaming of Quest 2 using your Wi-Fi router, actually, Carmack, the consulting CTO of Meta, of Quest, before said it would be amazing to have something like a dongle with a special software on it that would directly connect to the Quest 2 so that you wouldn't have to go through your congested Wi-Fi connections like your router. And it also would make it better in general because you always know that you can have this kind of quality in your Wi-Fi connection. Because right now you can use any kind of wireless router, and for some routers the Wi-Fi works great with AirLink, but for some routers it doesn't, right? So there's not like one good quality. But if there was something like a wireless dongle, you would simply stick into your PC and then have this direct connection to your Quest 2 and then have wireless gaming. This could probably be pretty amazing. And now some code was found in the Oculus PC drivers that actually reveals the existence of that VR AirBridge, a dedicated USB Wi-Fi dongle for Quest made by D-Link. So this seems to become a reality. This seems to become an actual product. And here we even see that D-Link dongle that could probably be used just with some other firmware. And that is pretty exciting. And I simply would like to know from you, Gary, what are your thoughts about it, and what is the price that you would be willing to pay for such a device that could give you perfect wireless streaming? Or do you think you wouldn't need it because wireless streaming with your Quest 2 is already good enough?
Well, I think the reason at the moment that it's good enough for me is because I've gone through the hoops in order to make it good enough. I've purchased dedicated routers, access points on my network in order to make it that way.
No, really? You have a dedicated router for this?
I've got two. I've got a dedicated router in my office, which is only a cheap one. It's a cheap AC router, £30-40, whatever it was.
Okay.
But that is more or less dedicated to Quest AirLink. And then in my house, so I'm in my garage at the moment, away from my house. But in my house, which is connected through Ethernet to another Wi-Fi 6 router, which I can play AirLink in my house then as well. Mm-hmm. that's ridiculous hoops to go through just for Airlink.
Yeah, exactly.
But it gives a fantastic experience. The problem is that people have, I honestly believe that 90% of the time that people that have Airlink issues, it's because they are running it through a router which is also connected to so many other different devices that it simply can't cope with it. So having a dedicated router will make all the difference, in my opinion. Whether Wi-Fi 6 or not, honestly, doesn't even matter too much. I think if you just got a dedicated router, even a cheap one, makes all the difference. So this will achieve that with minimal hassle. You don't need to go through the hoops of setting up an access point on your network and things like that to do all of that stuff. So I'm fully on board with this. And in terms of price, I think it's difficult to see a scenario where this will be cheaper than the official link cable, which is, I think it's £80 over here in the UK.
Which is kind of expensive
very
if you think
expensive.
about it. Yeah, very expensive, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't see it being cheaper than that. So I would say, either that or somewhere between that and £100, $100, something like that, I would imagine. Which, in fact, I mean, you could buy a router for £30 and achieve probably something close to what they're. I mean, it really comes down to how effective this is and what they are doing with this wireless dongle, whether it gives a better experience overall than a dedicated router or something like that, which it might well do. So that could be something else that adds value to it. But yeah, that's my prediction. And I think it's a good thing overall, just to get the friction down. You don't need to worry about it then. You plug this in and you're done.
It makes sense, right? Like for consumers, it's just easier than setting up your router. What are your thoughts, Tetiana? Are you using Airlink right now with the Quest, and how does it work for you?
It works depending on its mood. Like some days it works perfectly, and I remember I recorded Lone Echo too. Completely wirelessly using Airlink. That one day was such a good day for me and for the internet. And the internet is weird a little bit in my house. Sometimes it works perfectly. Another time I just couldn't get it to work. And I did use the access point with another router. But I think I didn't notice that much of a difference to kind of justify that hoop for me. So overall, I haven't played that many PC VR games lately. But this thing, if it's able to stabilize the connection so that it doesn't jump like the way it jumps right now in my household, then it would be great. And I would rather spend £80 or $80 for this wireless dongle than for a cable. Just based on that, sounds like a better investment to me.
Yeah, makes sense.
I've never heard of this before. You just shared it. And I'm like, oh wow!
Yeah, I totally surprised you with that topic. Yeah.
Yes, I had no idea. I'm going to learn more about it, and I really hope that this is true.
I could imagine it's true. It makes sense, really. Like right now, with the routers, you're not sure does it work well, and Meta cannot guarantee that it works well. Probably they also get like lots of support questions for Airlink. It doesn't work, okay, but they don't know why. This makes it so much easier. This is just like streamlined, and everything they want to do is streamlined, right? They want to become the Apple of VR. So that makes so much sense that you simply have this device, you plug it in, and everything works. It makes sense. Yeah, it really makes sense.
Hope we can make it work right.
Yeah,
it's a more controlled, right?
It's more controlled. Yeah, it makes sense. I think they can make it work really well.
And right? the other thing that Onikazi mentioned in chat as well is that this is a great benefit for people when they play close to their PC. He didn't say that. I'm paraphrasing basically, but he's saying, but people, he said, actually, I can see people getting this, plugging it into their computer, then complain when it still doesn't work with their PC in the basement while playing in the attic. So basically this will be a great solution if you play close to your PC. You want to play wirelessly through your PC, but you're in the same room as it basically. And I understand that, for me, so this will be great for here in my office, which I will probably give it a try if this actually does come out. But I'll still need an access point over in my home if I want to play wirelessly over in my home. So it won't really benefit that kind of situation unless you get, a very long USB cable, which I don't think that would even work, would it? I suppose.
Right. Yeah. So pretty interesting to have this device coming up. Hopefully soon. Yeah, interesting. I'm just wondering how much people will be willing to pay for it, for just a little stick. Yeah. So you think it's like going to be 80 pounds, Gary?
I can't see how they can justify the link cable if it's not that, really.
Right. Yeah.
Sadly.
Right. But the link cable, it does supply your Quest 2 with energy.
Yeah.
At least, right?
Yeah. I mean, really, the link cable itself shouldn't be that expensive, I don't think.
It's very expensive.
So, yeah. We'll see.
We'll see. Yep, let's see how it goes. But definitely interesting. They're still working on getting out new hardware to make the Quest 2 experience even better, which is cool. And yeah, fantastic device. Okay, so let's talk about the successor, the next headset after the Quest 2, which is most likely going to be the Cambria. And Brad Lynch, sadly it's Bradley, his YouTube channel, Brad Lynch has some interesting leaks, and he has heard from sources that he trusts that the device is actually ready for mass production. Everything is finished, and he had some interesting leaks about the headset. So, for example, first of all, he said that actually it was planned with some kind of head rumble, something that the PSVR also has, but this was stopped. It's not going to come with this, but it seems like that the controllers are going to have force feedback, just like the PSVR controllers. This is really, really cool in my opinion. This is very interesting. Also, he said that one person who has already tried the device was not so blown away actually by the visuals. FOV seems to be the same like Quest 2. Also, resolution, same like Quest 2. Overall, it was kind of a Quest 2 experience, just with this different kind of head strap. And now Brad has teamed up with a designer, and together with the designer, he has made some renders, and we're going to have a look at these renders of the Project Cambria now. So all the picture courtesy of, sadly, it's Bradley. Yeah, this is...
you put the links up there, I think, Sebastian, have you? Oh, no, sorry. No, it is the Cambria. You're right.
Yeah, right. This is the Cambria. Yep, so here it is. Very interesting looking device. We have seen it before. Also, in some kind of tweets, I think, from Boss Tank, the new CTO, where he was wearing it. And it did actually look like this. So let's go through the pictures here. So for all of the people who are listening to this, absolutely check out the video version of this podcast, because then you could also see these pictures. What an
interesting head strap. I mean, I'm sorry to chime in, but it's like Halo, but it's not Halo. It's the Elite type, that has this little cup below the head, but it doesn't have the top strap. But it has the little, the strap that goes on your forehead, like Halo. So it's like a combination of the two, but without the top strap. I wonder if it will sit securely on the head without, with that construction. So. It's so weird.
Well, we have seen this before. Actually, this is 1-to-1 HoloLens. This is actually the HoloLens.
Is it?
This is exactly the same thing. Or also the Lynx.
The Lynx.
The Lynx L1, right? Gary, we've been to Paris and we checked out the Lynx L1. And actually, it is exactly it was good. It's really
exactly like that, because it's got that front forehead section. And then, it's got the counterbalance on the back as well. Exactly the same as this.
Exactly the same thing.
Yeah. So, it looks very similar to the Lynx, honestly.
Right.
It's interesting that they've not got the the facial interface thing shown on here. Do you think it's really going to be a AR first device?
That is really the interesting question. Because if we look at this like this, well, there's lots of light going to leak in here for VR. right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be something that can perfectly leave you in VR.
But do you see these rubbery things around it? I mean, it's still rendering. It's not a real picture. So those rubbery things, like on the outside,
here, here.
Yeah, they may just come enough in contact with the skin to stop any leaks.
Could be.
I think that's how.
You're right. Could be.
PlayStation VR, like PSVR, isn't kind of like that.
And there could always be extra things like the Lynx R1 where they supply a separate facial interface as well. So there could be extra accessories that fit onto this
VR
as well.
mode, right? Some kind of VR mode.
Yeah.
Could be. Could absolutely be. Let's have a look at more pictures. I think there's even more. Yep, let me share this with you now.
So
here.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you go talk about this one, Sebastian.
Yeah, right. So now here you can see a bit more, and here you would see the cameras that would do the inside-out tracking. And also interesting, it's a different kind of setup as well. We don't have those 4 cameras that we have like in the Quest 1 and 2 that are in the edges of the device. The 4 camera setup is more like in the Reverb G2, which we know doesn't give us the best tracking volume, right? If we use that to go up and down. But the interesting thing is we don't need it anymore because the leaks also showed us that the controllers actually track themselves with cameras.
Yeah.
So it seems like, therefore, we don't actually need that kind of camera setup that we had before with the Quest, with the cameras in the 4 edges, right? So now it seems like they're totally fine to have this kind of camera setup where you have even more horizontal kind of coverage, right? With this camera, like completely looking at the sides, should be good enough. And with the cameras here looking down, probably even better for hand tracking to track your hands. And what we also see here, it seems like there's another camera setup, like 4 cameras it looks like, probably for the color pass-through. But but honestly, probably these 2 cameras here should be for the camera pass-through because they are more they have the right distance for eyes, right? Because you need this eye distance in order to get this really good pass-through. So what do you think these cameras are for? Probably these are for the tracking then. Or what are your thoughts about the cameras in the middle?
Well, yeah, it's difficult to say, isn't it? I mean, what they are saying is that there could be like 2. So the top 2 are cameras themselves, and then the bottom 2 could be depth sensing devices like a LiDAR or something. I mean, we've got to remember that Bradley was sort of telling somebody what he saw in those images, and they were modeling it in VR. So he was going partially off memory, I believe, as well. On what this is. So this might not be 100% accurate, but it's surprising how close it is. Well, maybe not surprising, but it's very close to what we've seen previously about some renders for Cambria. And also, do you remember that image on Twitter of Boz wearing that thing? Very similar to this as well.
Very, very similar. Yeah. Looks very comfortable. I think it's going to be very comfortable.
It's really looked packed with all the cameras, doesn't it? I mean, so how many are there 6 just in the front, 4 in the middle, or is it only 2 in the middle?
Yeah, I think 6 cameras, and this could be some other kind of sensors.
Who knows? Yeah.
Anyways, this is going to track your room very well for AR.
I would hope it's for color pass-through because
that's for sure. Color pass-through is for sure there.
Yeah, but if it requires this much, like so much technology stuffed in the front just to ensure the color pass-through, I would expect the quality to be really high. And if this device is focusing on mixed reality more than the actual virtual reality, then that would make sense because the pass-through we see now in Quest 2 just won't do it for any quality mixed reality experiences. So I think that's the most plausible explanation to me, that they're ensuring the highest quality of the pass-through so that any kind of apps and games or experiences we see are in the environment that is as realistic as possible. And then that would be a completely different experience. But what about that feedback from whoever that Bradley was talking about, that the experience doesn't feel that different from Quest 2. How can it be? So is it mixed reality or is it not mixed reality?
Yeah, it is for sure.
I would
expect it to be like mind-blowing with colorful pass-through, and maybe it's not because there aren't enough apps on it yet. Like Quest 2 right now is very different from the one that was released in 2020.
That's true.
So
I'd argue as well. Sorry, Sebastian, just quickly.
I'd
argue as well that the thing that limits Quest 2 is not just the quality of the pass-through at the moment, which is it's poor, it's black and white and it's low resolution. That's something that will definitely be addressed in this headset, but also the quality of the depth sensing. I think that's absolutely vital if this is going to be an AR headset, because it needs to be aware of your surroundings far more than the Quest 2. And while, I mean, you bring up a good point there, actually, Tetiana, about what they were saying, how it's not like a radical step up from the Quest 2 or anything like that in some ways, but I think that's got to be a complete, I mean, we already know. I mean, Sebastian, has this been confirmed? Like it's full color pass through. I believe it's been confirmed that has been
absolutely,
confirmed, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So it's full color pass through, high resolution, and so this is an AR device. From what we're seeing here, this is an AR first device, at least from the information so far, I'd say.
Yeah, but I also think you will just be able to use all the Quest games as well. I really do believe that this is something of a Quest 2 Pro. It looks like very desirable hardware. Like I, as you know, I do like my VR hardware, some new hardware. This is something that I would absolutely want, because I believe this is going to be way more comfortable than the Quest 2. Like probably the battery is here in the back, right? So that's why it's not as front heavy. Probably the lenses are going to be better with less glare. Probably something completely without glare. Then the cool color pass through and all the magic apps that they will give us with this. I'm just thinking of Vermilion, this beautiful drawing app, just in your place, and you can just put this canvas anywhere you want. I do believe that this is going to be like a headset that people will want, even if it's not perfect for VR, but probably it is. We don't know. Yeah, what are your thoughts? Is it going to be for us, or is it going to be more for enterprise?
Funny you should mention Vermilion. Their pass-through mode, is there. For those of you who don't know, there is a pass-through mode in Vermilion.
Yeah.
And I tried it, and it was just so cool to not be isolated. Like my husband was watching football or something, and I was painting on the couch, and I could
see
still
him in black and white.
See him, and I could see my cat, and like I could drink something and paint while the TV was on. So it's a completely different experience when you can actually be present while playing some kind of a game or using an app that doesn't require you to be fully immersed. So it'd be so much more fun if it was a high quality colored pass through. And I keep going back to what Mark Zuckerberg said on the Connect event, that Cambria isn't meant to like substitute Quest. If anything, it's meant to complement it. So that back to that, it makes sense to imagine that this would be a heavily like AR or MR targeted device, while still keeping and developing or improving Quest 2 as a primarily VR device. And then you will want to have both, because I'm sure Cambria would still have VR, but
it's
absolutely not its first purpose, right? It can do MR or AR much better than Quest ever will, and that's why it makes sense to have both of them. So I'm confident that this is going to be the headset that will be targeting just the same Quest 2 users, but I think that just the fact that it'll have AR and MR will also make it attractive for consumers, because you can do other things like training in them or something, or like consumer focused.
And
everyone will want it.
but just having that AR capability, it's like when Sebastian and I, we went and tried the Lynx R1. This is a device which is so close to what we're seeing here with this Cambria, honestly, and it's like that having that capability of productivity in VR. This is something I've always wanted, and with every little step that we've had over the years since 2016, since using VR, I love gaming, but I also want to use VR devices for productivity-based tasks as well, which is just not really that enjoyable at the moment. But because I like when Oculus Dash came out, for example, I was thinking that's great. It's going to revolutionize my desktop experience. I'm going to be able to use put all of these monitors in front of me and use it in that manner. It doesn't work out that way simply because the experience is not that compelling to do it, and you think I can do this faster without a VR headset on my head. But if we've got something like the Lynx R1 or with Project Cambria, where you are able to do this and you still feel present in the room, speaking to what you were saying earlier, Tetiana.
Yeah.
But you've got all of this extra functionality, all of this extra capability. It's something which really appeals to me. And I believe as well, they've said that this is not, it will still run everything that is on the Quest 2. I believe that's been confirmed. There's so many things that I'm trying to remember, but I think that's been confirmed anyway. So it's a separate product line to the Quest 2. They've confirmed that, but it will also run everything that is on the Quest 2 as well. So that would obviously imply that it's still, fully VR in one functionality at least, while also having this plainly to see AR functionality as well.
That makes so much sense. I could really believe that this is targeted at prosumers. Yeah, those guys who just want to pay a bit more and get a bit more, and who want to enjoy more comfort, probably a bit better visuals, and also the added functionality. But also, I believe that we haven't talked about this yet. This should also come with eye tracking. Yeah, it makes so much sense also for Meta, right? They want to get more data to sell better ads. And this could be that. And also, they will improve, for example, social VR with eye tracking, because then you will really be able to see where you look where you look at. And when you have some kind of very nice avatar in Horizon Worlds, you will have probably a nicer avatar with more expression thanks to eye tracking. And then you have this bad-looking avatar. You're a poor Quest 2 user. And then you have these really cool avatars. They can probably somehow scan your face and where you look at, and then you will see, this guy, he is using the Cambria.
And maybe even body tracking. And maybe even body tracking.
Who knows? Yeah, perhaps.
With all these cameras on the controllers, that maybe they'll be scanning your whole body and you will be like moving around, and maybe we'll finally get legs in VR.
That would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, so I do believe that there's going to be this kind of two-class society. Quest 2 and Quest 1 owners, poor bastards, and Cambria users who have the best avatars and stuff. And actually, that's exactly how it's in the novel Snow Crash. Probably some of you have read that book. And there's also like this scene where they go into this virtual club, and you see some of the avatars are black and white because the users have only like an old VR headset, and some avatars are like completely beautiful and they have the latest cool headsets. And something like this could happen now in front of our eyes.
VR Elite.
It's also Meta trying to go for, in order to be like the Apple of this technology that they are creating at the moment as well. Because you have an iPad Pro, then you have the standard iPad.
Exactly, you're right.
This plays into that so well, and it compares so well, because this has extra functionality which might appeal more to professionals that don't necessarily just want to use it for gaming, but also want to use it for work-based. No, the thing is, there's a big difference. I want to say this as well. There's a big difference between something that's targeted to enterprise and something that's targeted to productivity. This is, in my opinion, nothing to do with enterprise. It could potentially be used for enterprise, but what I'm saying is this is a productivity device as well as whatever Quest 2 is. And that's the difference. There's a difference in ways in looking at this. I hear so many people talk about Cambria and say, I'm not interested, it's enterprise. This is not an enterprise device. This is consumer. squarely consumer, but it might have productivity-based functionality as well, which is a difference.
Totally agreed. So now, Gary, tell us the exact price of this headset.
Oh dear, yeah, that is a tough. This is probably I've been asked a lot of prices on future technology
the price
many
is right.
times.
Yeah,
many
the price
times.
is right, exactly.
Yeah.
The price is right.
And this is probably the hardest one that I can't even think what it would be. We know it's more expensive than the Quest 2, but we don't know by how much. And based on everything that we've heard from Zuck saying that this is going to be more expensive, I think Boz has mentioned as well that this is going to be a more expensive device. This is prepping people that it might not be just a small amount of increase over the Quest 2. So here's a guess. I would say $799
Wow.
is what my estimate would be. However, if we're to hear what is being reported by Brad Lynch and what his source says, then it would imply that the experience isn't actually that much better than the Quest 2. So maybe I could backtrack on that. But yeah.
Okay, you say $799. Okay, what is Tetiana's guess?
I was going to say just a little bit below that. I would guess $600. But there also may be the same situation with Quest where there's a $599 version and there's a $699 version based on the memory or based on the battery or based on all that. But I would think it would be between 500 and 700. 800, that would be kind of disappointing because it's almost 3 times more expensive than Quest. So yes, I will stick with my my guess between 500 and 700.
And actually, that is exactly my guess as well. My guess is $599. So yeah, $600. I think that would be the sweet spot. I would totally buy it, obviously, but I also think more other people would buy it at $599. $799 is a bit tough, I think.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. I'm sort of preparing myself as well, thinking about this, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick one of these things up. That's the thing. I've got a Lynx R1 coming. I've got a Steam Deck coming.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got all these things. I can't keep up.
I didn't even talk about Steam Deck and how angry I am that I don't have it yet.
The same here.
Yeah.
Valve, Tetiana doesn't have it, and I don't have it. What's the matter? I'm willing to buy it, but
Mike
cannot.
doesn't have it. Mike from VR Oasis doesn't have it.
Why don't we have it? It's bad.
Because we're in a second quarter. We were not fast enough at clicking that button the first second.
I was fast. It was the website that failed me.
Yes.
I tell you, I was there at the beginning, and after the first 10 minutes, I thought, forget it. I'm going to go for a walk. I went for a walk. I came back, and then it went straight through. Then and I got in about 1 hour after it opened for pre-orders. So yeah, I'm still a month away probably from getting mine, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least we will see all the cool content that other people will be posting.
Yeah, exactly.
We will know all about it.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I also want one. And I did the pre-order just like you, Gary. I told you before we started the show. But then a couple of weeks ago, I got an email from them. Yeah, we have canceled your pre-order, but I don't know why. So I'm just as angry as Tetiana is at Valve. Damn.
That's okay, though. That's okay, because I hear people who have, received it, they love it. They're really enjoying it so far. So I'm just getting more excited that I know I will get it.
Yeah,
so for now,
eventually.
I'm glad that I'm busy with other things. So I'm glad that I have one fewer toy to distract me from other things.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Yeah, right. And I'm also looking forward to Cambria and what kind of exciting ideas people will come up with for developing with this mixed reality stuff. Just like for the Lynx R1, obviously. Both very interesting devices. Yeah, now we come to the next topic. And probably you have watched my video about it. It's about Moss Book 2. Finally, the successor to Moss came out some time ago, and it's a PSVR exclusive. Obviously, it's the successor to Moss, and it's just like incredibly beautiful. It's an incredibly beautiful PSVR exclusive that hopefully soon also comes to other headsets. But first, it's a PSVR exclusive, and you are still like controlling Quill, that the mouse. Okay, now here you can see it now, and I have proclaimed it to be the game of the year 2022 until now. So Tetiana, I know that you have played it, so do let us know about your experiences with the game.
Okay. It's funny. Yeah, we talked a little bit about Moss last time I was on the show, and I remember Sebastian said that he really think that this is his favorite game, and I like it. I enjoy it. I think that it's a very good game of its genre. I don't know if you played it, Gary, but this kind of platformer is just made really well, because it doesn't cause any motion sickness. It runs very smoothly. The puzzles are challenging, but they're interesting, and the interactions are very like diverse. And I think that what I loved most about the second book is that these kind of interactions, they were like there were even more things that you could do. So they really pushed the boundaries of what you can do as Quill and as a reader, right? Because in this game you are the reader, kind of like in the Ghost Giant, you are this like invisible or visible entity that's helping. So you can do actually more things. I watched your video, Sebastian, and
yep.
I think you play at some point. I played a little bit beyond that. So I was actually, I saw how you were blown away.
And totally like, blown away.
Boy, you don't even know what's coming.
yeah. Today I played further and
yes.
blown away.
Yes, like there's just so much more interaction added to it. Like you literally become the mother nature. You can grow the leaves on those vines.
Right.
You can build the bridges, and you can like
the gameplay even gets better. Exactly.
Yes, and I've also only played to that moment where you can grow these extra vines and build bridges, and this new animal, not animal, some kind of a bug that explodes. I don't remember if he was in the original game, but I only played for about an hour and a half, and there's so much more in that game. And I remember the developer, so Alex VR from Upload VR interviewed him at the Gamer Developer Conference, and he said that they really focused on adding more interactivity in the game, so to make it more interactive and to allow more things that you can do as Quill and as the reader. And that I think they really succeeded in that. In the very beginning, you could already see that there's so much more you can do. And he also said that it is coming to Quest soon. There's no date yet, but it's definitely coming. So I went ahead and made that video too, because it's almost like an early look at the game. I expect it to be very similar in Quest. So overall, it's the great game of the genre. I think it's too early to say that this is going to be the game of the year, because
until now I said until now.
Because there's also going to be like another game that I'm actually really looking forward to trying is
GTA San Andreas.
It's not. Oh yeah, it can be a game of the year, I guess. But I was thinking Cities VR.
What?
Like Sim City kind of cities VR, Skylines, like the Sims city building managing simulator. I think that one is very anticipated too. But up until now, maybe, I would say it's at least one of the best games released yet.
It's so beautiful. And, I was just blown away how this game looks in VR and on this old system, on this PlayStation VR 1. Yeah, I put it on. I played it on the PS5 and today actually on the PS4 Pro, and it just looks so good. It works so good on this old system. It's so colorful, and the environments are just art. It's so good. Gary, is it something that you would enjoy playing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love the first one. I think it's a great game. But I've not got a PlayStation VR at the moment, so I can't play it. So I'll look forward to it when it comes out on the Quest, I suppose, or PC VR. Is the original Moss? Is that on PC VR now as well?
Yeah, so it is out. Yes.
Yeah, so maybe I could play it on that or on the Quest. So I'll see. But it's definitely like one of my favorite games of its genre. I think what Tetiana said there is important for me. It's one of my favorite games of this genre. And I loved it. I loved it, and not many people don't like it, do they? Have you ever heard anybody who says a bad word about this? Because it's really well polished. I've said polished a lot during this episode, but it's really well made, and it's a good experience. So I'll try it one day.
Yeah, you have to. And actually, it's even better than the first one because, just like Tetiana said, you have more ways to interact with your environment. Yeah. Right? Just it's so well done, and it's so beautiful. And today I've played a bit more, and I was just as excited like I was when I played it for the first time, like a little bit more than a week ago. Yeah, so for me personally, this is really the game of the year until now in VR, and even as a flat game. This is just like magic. I just feel so immersed in this. I just feel so immersed in this game. Yeah, even though it's not the first person kind of game, but I'm just in this game. Yeah. As you can tell, I love it.
I want to address Lars's comment. So basically, whether you should play the first one, there's a lot of spoilers there, because it's a sequel. It literally picks up where book one is left off. So just be prepared that you will be spoiled about what you're supposed to do in book one, but also because the tutorial in book one is a little bit more elaborate, like it's a little more detailed in explaining how to control Quill, how to interact with things. I think it may be a little bit challenging to start with book two because the game assumes you kind of know how to do things, how to move objects, that you're actually supposed to interact with them, how the combat mode works. So it doesn't really explain it in great detail in book two. So
yeah, but it does explain it. But I would agree with you. Anyways, play the first one. It's such a good game as well. And for example, if you have Viveport Infinity, it's even there for free. So yeah, just play it now. Play it now if you can. Yeah, and also it's on Quest 2 as well, right? The first part. Don't know exactly how expensive it is right now, but it's also great, a great port. Wow. Really, really amazing. And I can tell that it took so long for them to make it because the level of detail is astonishing. Like what I did before, just before our podcast, I played it again. I looked at Quill, at the mouse, and then I blew into the microphone like this, like, and you could see the ears like flatter, or how to say
really?
that. Yeah, the level of detail is insane. I must make a title. Woo! A YouTube title. The level of detail is insane. It really is. It's great. So good, and everyone must play this. Really, if you have the chance to play this, if you have the chance to get, I don't know, if you have a PS4, PS4 Pro or 5, go and get that used old PSVR for $100 or what. And play this game. It is really worth it.
I wonder what the exclusivity period is, or if it's not got an exclusivity period, they're just having extra time to port it or something like that. Do we know that yet?
No, we don't know. I have no idea.
I think it'll come soon.
Yeah. Agreed.
I really don't think it's going to take them very long.
Agreed.
Yeah, and like you were saying, Sebastian, the Quest port of the first game is really good. I played through it entirely through PSVR originally, but then I started playing it on Quest as well, and it's great. It's absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great that we have games like this that can really fascinate us again about virtual reality. And I really believe that everyone who plays this kind of game for the first time, probably VR, they will understand the magic of this medium. Yeah, how it feels like to be in this world in 3D and to be able to interact with everything. You couldn't do that, obviously, if it was like a 2D flat game, right? It would be totally different. But you can. And therefore, I'm a big fan of VR. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I always talk about the experiences that just make something differently. I've been talking about it since I just started appearing on the show.
Yeah.
First-person shooters are great, but they just look so similar to like flat-screen first-person shooters in VR. I mean, games like Moss. I think they're doing things quite differently. So
Right.
I do like showing off the games that allow you to have experiences that otherwise you wouldn't be able to. So I'm really appreciative about games like that. They kind of really push the boundaries of what you can do in VR and showcase like all the best things.
Right. So again, everyone out there who's wondering, should I get Moss 2? The answer is yes. Right. And I hope, Gary, that you can get it soon as well. Wow, I can't believe how this must look in the PSVR 2. Because in PSVR 1, it really looks so good. It's unbelievable what they did. I mean, the PSVR 1, it doesn't have a high resolution, right? But I can't tell. It's just so good. You played it with the PS5, Tetiana, and the PSVR, or what do you have? What kind of system?
Yes, actually, that was the first PSVR game that I played with PlayStation 5.
Yeah, right.
Because, to be honest, I was kind of discouraged from PSVR because I've had the PlayStation 4, and
things don't look so crispy.
You could see the graphics difference was a little too much for me to actually be able to enjoy it, especially coming from like Quest. So that's why I put away my camera for a long time and couldn't play anything. But Moss was the reason why I would take it out, set it up again, and I bought this adapter that would connect my PSVR to PS5. And then I spent an embarrassingly long time trying to figure out why my PlayStation 5 controller wasn't working.
Oh yeah, you need the PlayStation 4 controller for Moss.
I didn't know that. First of all, I was charging my ones to make sure that I have them done. And then I realized, okay, so this game, you need to play with a controller. So I take my PlayStation 5 controller and it's not working. And I spent way too much time trying to figure out that you need to use DualShock controller from PlayStation 4. And it sucks because if you only have PlayStation 5, you need to buy a controller from PlayStation 4.
So you bought one just for the game?
No, I didn't. I still have my PlayStation 4. But for people who don't, that's another extra thing you need to buy.
Exactly.
You buy an adapter, buy a controller, all to play, a game. It's a lot. So PlayStation, come out of the PSVR 2 already, because these are too many
waiting
to play PS1.
It's just time. We want this headset. We want it. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so we enjoyed it, and hopefully Gary can enjoy it soon too.
Yep, hope so.
Yeah, cool. Okay, that's for that topic, and we have one topic left before we call it a night, and that topic or a day, and that topic is let's talk about our Pimax 8KX experiences. So Gary, you got it too now, and you are creating content with it, and just tell us what you think about it.
Yeah, so I've got it here. I thought I'll just show you that I have actually got it. Yes, so it's
is it the KDMAS version or the DMAS version? Do you know?
Is it the K? I think it's the KDMAS.
Oh yeah, KDMAS
version.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
So you get these parts on. I believe, is that the difference?
Actually, this is a difference. Yeah, they really are on your ear.
Yes,
those headphones, and the headphones themselves are also a bit different.
They've got an extra clip where you can, that they basically touch your ear. So they look, without this clip, they look very similar to Valve Index off-ear headphones, but they're not. They don't work that way. You do have to attach this really to get any kind of volume. But with those on, I will say, like, the audio. I mean, I can get this out of the way. The audio is fantastic with these on.
I agree. It sounds pretty good, right?
It really does. Yeah. So, I mean, okay. So with a Pimax, just very quickly, my history is I tried a Pimax 5K Plus a few years ago, probably I think it was 2018. I got loaned one for a week and I tried it. And while I liked a lot of what the headset was offering, I had distortion issues, warping on the edge, eye strain, all of these things. And I did, I used it for a week. I did try to dial in settings, but it was a different place back then, what Pimax are offering. I personally believe, like in 2018, they were still a relatively new company and they had only just released products out there. So in my opinion, I wasn't completely impressed with what I tried, honestly. So when I I approached Pimax and I asked for a unit just to try to make some content on, but at the back of my mind, I was thinking back to this first experience I had, and I was fully expecting to still not like it. There's a certain aspect with distortion, especially, and certain optical issues, and with anything to do with a VR headset, where really you can look at videos that people are doing, and you can certainly trust the videos that people are doing and get their impressions on it. But until you've tried it yourself, it's very difficult to have an absolute 100% confidence in what is happening. So I was still skeptical, but I was very impressed. Just straight away, putting this headset on, very impressed. There was far less distortion, far less warping, first off, but also the build quality. That was one of the first things that hit me with this headset compared to the previous versions that I've used. The build quality is just impeccable. It's really solid and a high quality product as well. So that's the other thing. I mean, I suppose overall, let me just give my overall impressions on the Pimax. I am thoroughly impressed with it. It's not without several issues which mean it's not a headset for everyone, in my opinion. But I've tried Elite Dangerous, Project Cars 2, which I've tried, I've mentioned before. Many titles, actually, Half-Life Alyx and non-sim titles as well. And the headset really does seem to just give an overall very good experience in all of these, while excelling in certain experiences. Project Cars 2 being one. Elite Dangerous is a great experience too, once I've dialed in settings. The reason I don't think it's a headset for everyone is, first of all, I do think it leans more towards people that are interested in simulation-based titles. I think it leans in that direction. That doesn't mean to say you can't use it for all of these other experiences and have a great time, because I think you can, but I think it just leans in that direction. And also the other thing is the way the Pimax works. You have these two canted displays and canted lenses, and what this means is that the actual fit and the IPD, and there's write-ups that go into this, but the actual fit and the IPD adjustment and the binocular overlap of the headset and all of these other things, in my opinion, mean that it will not necessarily be suitable for everybody, depending on their face shape, their individual face shape, eye position, and all of these other things. And it's a tough thing to really get that across, honestly, in a video, or even when you're using it, because I personally feel like I am right on the edge of what I can enjoy with this headset. I am right on that lower edge of IPD. I've got an IPD of between 62 and 63 millimeters. And even on the lowest possible setting on this headset, and even experimenting with that offset that you've mentioned, Sebastian, it's not bad enough for me to say it's a poor experience or anything like that, but it's just this slight sensation that things are not quite optimized perfectly for me. And that's all I'll say about that, because I think the message I want to say about this headset is that I am thoroughly impressed with it, and I think it's come on a long way from when I last tried a Pimax. And if you're lucky enough to have the right face shape, the right eye position, which is probably, 80% of people out there, I don't know, it's a great headset. And I really enjoy it.
Cool.
Can we talk more about the IPD? Because that's also one of the things that I haven't had the chance to figure it out yet. The way it works for me best is when I put these lenses as close to each other as possible.
Yeah, many people have exactly that sensation.
And I still think it's not close enough. And I still wish that it was a little bit closer to each other, because when I put on the headset, somehow, because of this just a little bit difference, it always feels as if I have a little orange spot in front of me. I don't know. It's that part where the lenses overlap.
What is your IPD?
I don't know.
Yeah. This is something that you have to find out, though.
I do. I never had to, only have ever owned Quest, and now I do. But so essentially that just something I kept having the same feeling as Gary. Like it's almost there, but not quite in terms of the optimization, making it as comfortable as it can be for me. So that's why I wanted to also see what your experience with it.
People, just to cut in quickly, Sebastian, before you give your impressions on that particular point. Some people have actually modded their Pimax 8KX. I'm not going to do that. This is a lone one, so I won't be doing that. But people have modded it to get those lenses close together. The reason, so if you can imagine the canted displays here, then you have slightly less canted lenses here below. The path into your eye means that they are forming almost like a triangle. So your eyes are at the bottom of this triangle, or slightly up from the point at the bottom. And this means that if your eyes are further forward in your head or further back in your head, they won't align perfectly with the shape of these canted lenses. And there's been people looking into this and try to describe this. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's like a poor design or anything like that. It's the design they it's the design they have to use in order to provide this wide field of view. But it also means that if your eyes are not necessarily in exactly the right position in your head, that your alignment with these displays and these lenses won't be perfect. And that to me makes perfect sense. Now, I don't know, I've got a link to a write-up which explains this better than I ever could, but it does sort of make sense to me that's the case, but also it's probably not a problem for most people. What do you think, Sebastian?
But yeah, it is. I know that some people, even with an IPD of 64, simply can't use the device. I know it from the German community. There's a person who puts it on and something is just so off, and then he will think like, no, cannot use it at all. So there's still something not perfect with these headsets.
It's a really odd way of notion of not having. How did you say it, Gary? Not have their eyes positioned in the right place in their head or something like that?
Right. Because for some people, the eyes
to be like that, right?
In the skull. Some people have the eyes quite within the skull, and some are more like outside.
And that means
because what's the right way of having eyes in the skull?
Yeah, there's not a right way, but this headset relies on people in a certain position, I would imagine. So because the direction of the screens, they're coming in like this. So if your eyes are further away in your head, your forehead touches the face gasket further forward, then they're not going to hit in the right place. They're going to hit further in.
Seems,
and the opposite is true as well. So.
This just sounds wrong. It literally sounds like some people are being discriminated against based on their physical properties.
Well, but it's the same thing with the Quest 2, because there's only 3 IPD positions, right? If you're exactly in the middle of these positions, also there's discrimination against you.
Yes, but you don't hear those kind of complaints. Like, people don't return Quest because of the IPD. Somehow,
probably they do. We don't know.
Maybe, but
some people.
I don't know. All three of us.
I know some people who are not happy with it.
Anthony, I think he can't or prefers to use the Quest 1 because of the IPD adjustment.
Exactly.
The Quest 2,
really?
apparently, So that, and I want to make it clear before we move on, I'm no optical expert on any of this stuff. So take whatever I'm saying with a pinch of salt. I'm just reporting on what I've read by somebody who is far more knowledgeable about it than me. And they seem to have a good case for why this is happening to people. So that's all I'll say.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm. So, Tetiana, to what you were saying about you feeling like, okay, probably you should even put it closer together. Perhaps my latest video could help you. Check it out. It's on the channel since today. And it's like a tutorial how to set up your IPD correctly using the IPD offset. Because the interesting thing about the Pimax is, just like with the Quest 2, actually, even though it has 2 displays, the displays do not move when you move the IPD adjustment wheel. The only thing that's going to move are the lenses. So that is interesting, and the display, the picture, will move on the displays. And it might be that with the IPD offset, you can still set the picture a bit more closer together, and then get a more comfortable viewing experience. And for me, actually, this was the case. So I have that perfectly normal 64 millimeters average IPD which allows me normally to use any kind of headset because it's just average. And here for the Pimax, I still had to put it on 62 millimeters and then change that IPD offset to really actually match my eyes. And I'm showing you how that works in that video that I made. So, and then when I did this, I didn't have that strange feeling anymore. Because before, when I set it to 64 millimeters, it was okay-ish, but then still after like 30 minutes, I felt like my eyes hurt. I had some kind of eye strain. Something was off. But now, with having it dialed in perfectly, I can play for hours and I feel good. Even putting the headset away, my eyes don't have to readjust. And I feel great now about the headset.
I'll watch that video. But isn't that odd that even you having the most normal IPD 64 still had to do some extra
that is bad.
With the headset?
That's why I cannot recommend this for everyone. You know, that's why I say, okay, if you are okay with tinkering, if you're okay with going into the settings, and even if you're okay sometimes having to use some command line tool, if you have bricked your device because there's some firmware update which totally bricked your headset, just then you're okay to buy this device. I mean, hopefully the 12K is going to be better, and what Kevin Henderson said sounds like it's much better. It's more straightforward. You simply it will automatically adjust to your IPD. That will be amazing, right?
Yeah.
But for the 8KX, once you have dialed it in, like now it fits me perfectly. I have the perfect IPD adjustment now, and also I've changed the colors because the color settings also make a huge difference when you directly get it and you plug it in. In my opinion, the colors look bad, like completely washed out, not nice, not good enough. But now, after I've set the colors according to somebody from the MRTV Discord server, it looks way better. Have you tried it?
Did you change colors in Pi tool?
In the Pi tool, you can set. Yeah, you can set like for each channel RGB, you can set like, do you want more or do you want it less bright for that color channel, and that made such a huge difference.
Yeah, I guess I was messing with more like surface level, the colors.
Okay.
I mean, there's brightness and there's saturation, I think, but I've seen the channel, like specific channel settings, but I just didn't want to mess everything up again because I told you last time I was on the show that I thought I broke it by changing settings because it wouldn't run, like none of the games would run. None of the Oculus, like Quest Store games would run for some reason.
Okay.
And as we figured out in a couple of days, it had to do with a revive and like changing the directory of where the games would be pulled. So I installed revive and then I uninstalled it, but the directory remained and it would try to run games from there instead of the original location. So anyway, one of those things that you need to have a PhD in this kind of computer science.
Good that you have one.
Good that I have one, but it didn't help me then. So yes, the colors, I probably will need to
you have
dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I made the video as well, so you're totally settled with MRTV, watching MRTV. Gary, did you try these other colors as well?
I sort of messed around with them briefly, just looking through settings. So yeah, I did try. I've not really like dialed it in perfectly or anything like that. I've not took the time to do that, but yeah, that makes sense. I'll be honest, I've not really had a big problem with the colors in the headset since I've been using it, but if I can get it better, then I'll take that for sure.
Try the settings that I posted under this video that we're watching right now, the population 1.1. It's there, and wow, I've dialed them in, and now this looks so much better, much more vibrant, even better blacks, and very comparable to what we know from Index or what. So it did make a big difference.
And another thing with the screen capture, I can see it in your video, and I saw it in Gary's video.
It sucks.
Isn't it annoying? It's offset. It's not centered because it's only capturing one lens.
Yeah,
and then it's warped like
it's
that.
Super warped.
It's not,
well,
it would not be my choice. That's honestly, I love the headset, but that would be my main reason why I wouldn't be making content.
The warped thing, actually, somebody posted, because I mentioned that, I was trying to rectify it, but then somebody posted in my comments saying that it sort of illustrates the wide field of view, though, at the same time with this headset, and it sort of separates it from other footage that you might post from other VR headsets. So they seem to like it, but I can understand, like, watching it, it's a little bit uncomfortable. And the problem is...
dizzy. You're not even in VR.
Yeah, and the problem is if you stretch it out or try to adapt it, then it becomes all pixelated and
exactly.
Exactly.
It's actually sad that it's like this, because some people might think, oh, this is how it looks in VR. I don't want this. But in VR, no, it doesn't look like this strange stretch. No. Actually, now with that great distortion profiles, I don't have this distortion problem anymore. I had it before with the large FOV, but now, no. I can still tell it's there.
Yes.
It's not perfect. Yeah, it's there for sure, but it does not affect me when I play it. How about you, Tetiana? The same thing?
It doesn't bother me. I saw it. Wow. I've never used the previous 5K. I haven't used that one. So I hear the horror stories from you. But when I tried 8KX, again, same thing. I saw it, but it didn't bother me at all, which was weird because I would think, oh, anything less than Quest or anything less comfortable than Quest would probably be annoying. No, it kind of reminds me of this ginormous FOV that I have. It's just so nice. I love that. I was so shocked.
Yeah, right.
I still remember the first time I put it on.
I must say they have come a long way, really, from that first experiences to now. And I did have the very first version of the 8KX here on the channel, like before anyone had it, and I didn't like it. And I told that to everyone. Which strained my relationship with Pimax a bit. But it was just how I felt in the very beginning. But now that you can use the Pimax 8KX with 90 hertz, and I could only use it with 75 hertz in the first version, that is really a huge difference. And with the upgraded distortion profiles, now with having dialed in the colors and also the IPD setting, yeah, I really like it, and I can recommend it actually for people. That's something that I couldn't say before. But again, just with the knowledge, okay, you might have to tinker with it to get it to that point. It's really not that I could recommend it to everyone and you buy it and you're happy. No, you have to spend quite a bit of time to dial it in. If it fits for you, if you can dial it in to you, perfect. But there are also some people who are not happy, who are not getting lucky with it for some reasons, probably because of the eye issue that is too deep in the head or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting device now, I must say. Yeah.
I think with regards to the distortion thing, because I'm somebody that's very sensitive to that kind of distortion. I don't think it should be in a VR headset. The representation of when you turn your head in real life is not the same representation of how it is in a VR headset, then I think they are doing something incorrect with that.
Yeah.
At the same time, this now, and it's surprising to me, so if I look straight ahead in the Pimax 8KX and turn my head, I get a sense of slight distortion on the edges. That's what I'll say.
For sure. Yes.
If I look for it, there's nothing there. It's bizarre to me that I can't actually see the distortion, and yet I get a sense of it when I look straight ahead. And people will probably comment and say, this is because it's got a wide field of view. And I understand that. But at the same time, my real life has got a wide field of view as well. And I don't get any distortion with that. So what I'm saying is it's improved to the point now where I can use it. As somebody that is very sensitive to distortion, this is pretty much fine, honestly, and I'm saying that
same for me.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that next stage, right? When Pimax comes out with a 12K QLED, which is supposed to be better in everything and totally blow us away. So that should be pretty interesting to find out how much better it would be.
Yeah.
And whatever else they might have up their sleeves even before 12. KX releases.
Exactly. So that should be pretty exciting. Let's see what's going to happen. Yeah, okay. That's it for today's show. Really happy to talk with you about VR, like always. Hope the distraction worked, Tetiana, for at least 2 hours.
Yeah, it's been great. I've learned something new with the Quest dongle. I'm gonna go and read more about it. And both of you really urged me to try Pimax again because, it's been a lot's been going on, and it's been sitting there. I know. I mean, I really have to. I really need to. I'm moving it up in my priorities to get it out as soon as I can because it's a great headset. It's worth all the attention that it's getting. Even at the stage that it is now, I think it's better. It's better than Quest. Like visually, I would prefer it. I just wish I could create more content with it with screen recording. Make it better quality, but it's
just make sure that you tinker with it. Set the IPD according to that beautiful tutorial that I made.
All right. I will be bothering you with questions.
Please do. And really, it's pretty good, I think. Yeah. So, anyways, that's it for season 2, episode 20 of the Next Dimension podcast. If you are watching us right now, do give us a thumbs up on YouTube, and also do leave a comment. How did you like today's show? And any comment will help with the algorithm. These long shows, YouTube doesn't really push them, so you have to help us push them with commenting, with giving the thumbs up, and with letting your VR friends know about the Next Dimension podcast. Also, if you would like to help us more, do open your podcast app on your iDevice, on your iPhone and iPad, and find the Next Dimension podcast, and do leave us a 5-star review. We would be really happy about this. And I'm looking forward, and we are looking forward to hopefully see you in next week's episode. And I know that next week's episode is going to be a very, very exciting one. Teasing here again. And that's everything that we got for today. Looking forward to see you next week. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, and that's it. We're still live here. Just a short cool down. Yeah, great show again. Good to have you guys.
Sending love to Steve. Let's send some love to Steve.
Oh yeah, exactly. Right.
We miss him, and we hope he's gonna heal soon with the unfortunate encounter.
Yeah, right, exactly. He had an encounter with a dog, right?
Yeah, it wasn't his dog, was it? It was another stranger's. Yeah,
his dog was there though.
Yeah, right.
From what I've heard.
So, Steve, we missed you here today, of course, and hopefully you're going to get better soon. But he told me he's already on the way to getting better. Yeah,
good stuff.
Because he'll be back, hopefully, for the big news.
Yeah, hopefully. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah, anyways, let's stay under 2 hours for today. And goodbye, everyone out there. And we're looking forward to talk with you next week, and lots of interesting things are going to happen. Until then,
thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.